Hi, and welcome back, ESA Explores listeners. In the last episode, we met the Eurocom team, the voices our astronauts here in orbit. Today, we're staying at the European Astronaut Center, right here in Cologne in Germany, but going one step further behind the scenes. We're meeting the ECOS team, which prepares the experiments our astronauts carry out in space and supports them throughout their missions. My name is Laura zur Mühlen, and in this episode I'm speaking with ECOS Deputy Manager and Operations Engineer Salvi Verma to find out what it takes to turn science into reality on the International Space Station. Hi Salvi, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here and joining us.
Hi Laura, thank you so much for having me.
So today we're in the ECOS console room. Can you tell us what ECOS is, very briefly? What does it stand for?
Sure. So ECOS is for ESA Crew Operations Support. So as the name says, we are the operations entity here at ESA, and we are actually a multidisciplinary team. We are made of different team members from the different other teams here based at ESA, coming from the space training team, space medicine team, the astronauts office, and the crew support office as well. So all of these team members provides a percentage of their time to the ECOS operations activities.
I was just about to ask, so that means these people, they have basically one main job, an instructor, for example, or a member of the space medicine team, like a surgeon, for example?
Yes, so that's what makes ECOS so unique, is that it's made of the different team members from different teams, and absolutely, so they all have their main role within their teams, and then if they wish to, they can also take part and provide their knowledge to the different operations experiments that we are running on the ISS.
Yeah, that's super interesting because you get the input of all these different experts, which is then needed and very much appreciated, I guess, for crew and operations on the ISS. Yeah.
Yes, for sure, and that's what makes us really make sure that all of activities run smoothly, and we get all these different backgrounds and skills and knowledge for the operations.
Yeah, and are you also working together with the teams in the Columbus Control Center in Munich, for example, and other operation centers around Europe?
Yes, so we all are very much in touch all the time because we all work as one team. So we are here based at ESA, but we are constantly in touch through meetings or through real-time communication with the flight control team at the Columbus Control Center, and then also with the other operation centers across Europe.
And what is your job?
So my job, I am the deputy manager of the ECOS team, and at the same time I am an operations engineer also. So I prepare and work on the experiments that we fly on the ISS.
Can you give us some examples of these experiments?
Yes, so for example, so far we have still running the ANITA 2 payload. So ANITA 2 is an air sampling payload. It started as a technology demonstrator about 3 years ago now. And now it's actually a system that also our international partners on the ISS use to monitor the air on board the station.
Wow, so what does it monitor exactly? Is it just the quality or how good the air is that the astronauts breathe?
It monitors the amount of different molecules in the atmosphere. So we have methanol, we have water, we have different types of gases that we monitor and control, and to make sure that we are within the limits that are allowed on the ISS.
Okay, so you're really also taking care that the astronauts can have a good life on the ISS.
That's one of the key elements of the ISS, maintaining crew health and crew fitness as well.
Yeah, and so how come it's positioned at EAC? I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because you work with the astronauts.
True. So actually we are here very close and on site with the training team and the space medicine team. So they have a lot of different projects and experiments that they want to run on the ISS. So being close to them, it makes sense to have an ops entity here to work with them to prepare those experiments. And then once they are on board, also closely report to them any differences, any technology issues we have, and then get their direct feedback.
Yeah. So how is an ECOS activity prepared then for the ISS? Like, who would you work first, second, and last? So what would be the order of people you work with?
Yes, so the process is quite long actually, from getting the experiment assigned to us up to flying. It's about 1.5 years long process, and we start with getting connected to the scientific team or whoever has developed or gotten the idea of the specific experiments. We discuss with them, get to know all about the hardware, the software, whatever system that is. And then once we are at that stage, we start working on the operations preparation. So we have quite some documentations to write. We have specific processes to follow for safety and approvals of different parts of the payloads. And then we have to write the different crew steps that the crew will follow once on board. This process, once we have all these operation documents ready and written and uplinked on board, we have the part where we discuss with the training team to get them up to speed so then they can train the astronauts and then make sure that everything is in place for the experiment to fly and the astronaut to process and go ahead with the science once on board.
So you're basically involved at every step of an astronaut mission also. So already in the beginning with the trainers, as you said. Do you also speak to the astronauts while they're on mission on the ISS then?
So we don't speak to the astronauts in a direct way. So we have, and every agency part of the ISS has their own communication console position. So we relay that information to the communication person and then they relay it to the astronauts. That's the chain of events because it also has to go through an approval process in real time. The flight directors have to agree before we voice anything up to the crew members. In some cases, the experiment is so complex or need direct interaction with the crew members. And in that case, we are what we call enabled on the space to ground loop. So we are in direct contact with the crew to guide them, sometimes read them the steps directly. So it's easier for them and also for us to align on what's needed to happen and then have the science as best as possible.
So could you tell me what a typical day for you would look like at work?
Yes, so a typical day would really depend on what's going on board the ISS. Some days it's about reading emails, replying to different people, making sure all the different processes are going ahead because we are on a time constraint when it comes to flying payloads. Some other days I come in this room for a shift to support sometimes the Anita 2 operations or any other science experiments going on. Some other days it's coordinating the overall team members, different project, who's assigned to who, the resources management. So it's quite different and can be quite different day to day actually.
Yeah. And you already mentioned that, of course, then you interact with the astronauts. And at the moment, we have Sophie Adenot, the French ESA astronaut, on board the space station for Epsilon mission. Have you worked with her already?
Yes, so we had gotten the chance to meet her and see her here when she came for her training at ESA. And especially we are excited to work with her on the E4D experiment. So that's a payload that's going to launch very soon and that Sophie will be working on the ISS.
Can you explain a bit more? What is it? What is E4D?
Yes, so E4D actually stands for European Enhanced Exploration Exercise Device. Mm-hmm. So quite a long name, and we got it shortened to E4D. And it's basically a compact exercise machine that allows various different types of exercises for crew on boards. And the goal is to support the astronauts in their health and fitness on board the ISS, because one of the key elements that we need to take care of when the astronauts go in space is the bone and the muscle loss, and also the cardiovascular system really weakens. So there is a huge need to have good amount of exercises done by the crew on board.
Mm. So taking E4D as an example, can you describe maybe again what your role was and at which stages of this payload you were involved, even before the mission and now during the mission of Sophie?
Yes, sure. So because this project is led by the space medicine team, which is here on site at ESA, which again makes the whole process much easier. From the beginning, we were aware that this was coming up, and there were some discussions early on about the console configuration, the different elements to take care of once we start working on these payloads. And we really got involved when we got assigned as an operation entity to support the E4D experiments. And the first thing was to assign different team members to work on this project. Because it is so big and so complex, we need quite a lot of number of people working on this. And the process has started already a few years ago, and we have now almost finalized all the operations preparation to be able to support Sophie once she starts her exercises.
Yeah. So that means at the start, were you in touch with the scientists or the people who developed the machine already, or only once it was at ESA and when we started training astronauts or Sophie for it?
The principal investigator, as we call it, the PI, is a person who is really looking to get the science from the specific payload, is part of the space medicine team. So she's here on site. So we had been in touch with her for a long time. And she's also the operations team lead for this payload. So she really has a broader knowledge, and she has been part of the ECOS team as well for quite some time. So we had already gotten some knowledge about this experiment, this payload, and this big system actually that we aim to also fly in the next exploration missions, not only on the ISS.
And then once E4D is on station and Sophie would exercise on it, would you be in touch with her for that, or before or after one of the exercises, for example?
So we will be on console, yes, the team members will be here supporting Sophie and the whole flight control team when she and the other crew members will start working on it, specifically for the first few times when E4D goes on board and we have the installation activities. This is a big chunk also to start and begin with. And the commissioning and the activation of E4D, we will have quite some people here working and making sure everything goes as planned.
Yeah. Monitoring in real time then as well, so you would see her doing the exercise?
Yes, we will have then real-time telemetry coming down to verify the data is correct and verify that the payload also is working as expected.
And then you would relay this information back to the science teams behind this payload, so in this case the exercise device, and from that then they could work with the data.
Yes, absolutely. So all the data will then go back to the principal investigator for further analysis and maybe enhancements for future exploration missions.
Yeah, that sounds super interesting. Is there a specific payload or scientific device that you're looking forward to the most to work with a crew member on the station? Is it E4D?
So E4D is the highlight of this year for ECOS team for sure. So we are very much looking forward to it. There's another one also coming up is called Easy Motion 2. So that's an electric muscle stimulation suit that crew wears during the exercises. It activates and simulates the muscles, and it's meant to support this muscle activation to also prevent this muscle loss during the activities in space. Yeah. So that's also a second one that we are very much working for and looking forward to having on board.
So you're really also monitoring the crew's health and safety on board. So a big part is the medical operations, would you say?
So we do have a big chunk of medical operations going on, but we also have other fields. So like I said, we have the training team here, and we have had some training related payloads. We had what we call VR OBT, so virtual reality onboard training activity last year with VR headsets. So we had our ops team here live in the metaverse with the crew members on the ISS.
Oh, wow.
Playing a game online just to test and make sure the actual connection works. So that was a really great activity.
And it did work.
And it did work very well, and the crew was very happy with it. And now we are actually going to upload our very own ESA VR headsets this year to also enable more training, virtual training for EVAs or for other different fields that any teams would want to have as part of training. So yes, VR and XR is going to be also a big part of ECOS activities in the coming years.
Super interesting. So you work mainly with European payloads, of course, but also European astronauts in that sense, or would you also interact with crew members from other nationalities on board of the station?
Yeah, so we work with all our international partners. Our activities, even though they are ESA-led, they can be performed by other astronauts from the other agencies as well. So that's also part of the training here. When the other agencies' astronauts come here, they get trained on our payloads as well. So they are ready and they can perform the activities on board the ISS. And we are also here to support them whenever they perform it.
Do you have a special moment or a very special experience that you had so far in your job that you could share?
So at the beginning when I arrived, like I said, Anita 2 was just about to be launched. And I actually saw the installation activity, and I was just passively watching and listening. And I didn't know that in a few years, ANITA would become so important, and it's now actually a system that's used. The data is used by international partners, and we're also looking at having ANITA 2 in future exploration missions, because it's, again, very key to have air sampling when it involves astronauts going to different planets or different destinations. Yeah. In space.
So talking about future destinations and missions post-ISS, maybe, will you and your team be involved in any activities with astronauts in that?
Yes, so in parallel of E4D and Epsilon mission, ECOS is also involved in the Artemis 2 mission that is coming up very soon.
So what is it? Can you explain briefly again, what is Artemis 2?
Yes, so Artemis 2 is part of the Artemis program to go back towards the moon. And the Artemis 2 actually is taking 4 crew members in less than a week, actually very soon, to go around the moon and back. It's going to be a 10 days mission, and we on our side here at ECOS are supporting the crew with providing them a specific Everywhere software.
Everywhere? Is it another health and crew related device or experiment?
Absolutely, you guessed it right. Yes, Everywhere has been operating actually on the ISS since Thomas Pesquet's first Proxima mission, and now it will also be used during the Artemis 2 mission for the crew members, and specifically, like you said, health and medical related. So Everywhere actually helps the crew members to track their medication intake, their food intake, answer any questionnaires, science related, and also provide private medical messaging between the crew members and their flight surgeons on ground.
Wow. So you'll be involved in every step of the way, so to say, and one of the main things that we need to track when humans go further and beyond the International Space Station. That's super exciting.
Yes, yeah, that's going to be, again, a very big highlight, and we are also getting the last few bits ready for this mission.
And personally, do you have a wish or anything that you would still really like to do during maybe one of your shifts or for future activity?
Personally, I feel like I have gotten the chance to do more than I ever expected, because, like I said, most of the times we go through the communication console position to discuss with the crew members for any experience and activities. But I got the chance actually last year during the Axiom 4 mission to directly communicate with the crew, to guide them to an experiment which was out of this world, literally, which I was not expecting, and it actually went really well. So I already got the chance to do this. What I would like to do is I'm looking forward to the Artemis 2 mission, because that's going to be really another highlight. And also personally, the moon has always been a destination that I wanted to work towards. So I'm grateful that we got the chance to be part of this amazing mission.
Sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for telling me your story and all about your job and your activities. And let's chat again sometime to hear more about the lunar missions then in the future.
Sure, looking forward to. Thanks a lot, Laura.
Thank you.
It really takes a team to fly to space. And ESA astronauts are supported every step of the way by dedicated teams here on the ground. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with anyone curious about space. You can follow us on social media at ESA Spaceflight using the hashtag ESA Explores, and visit esa.int for the latest updates. Hear you next time, stay tuned and keep exploring with ESA Explores.